that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Inside Out 2, it is without hyperbole or exaggeration, is absolutely crushing the box office right now. One of the fastest starting animated films of all time. It became in just 9 days, the biggest box office hit of the year. And we're already almost in July. And it's far surpassed the original, all that kind of stuff. And now it is on pace, according to the Hollywood Reporter, to become the fastest billion-dollar club animated film in box office history. Hollywood Reporter said this: Pixar and Disney's Inside Out 2 has a big weekend ahead of it as it prepares to close out June by becoming the first film of 2024 to jump the $1 billion mark in worldwide ticket sales. It is expected to accomplish this feat on Sunday or possibly Monday, faster than any animated movie in history, or 17 to 18 days. Nor will it have any trouble fending off the competition and staying number one in its third outing ahead of A Quiet Place Part 1. I'm not so sure it finishes ahead of A Quiet Place Part 1. We'll talk about that in a minute. And Kevin Costner's ambitious $100 million period piece Western Horizon, an America Fuck Yeah saga, Chapter 1. So let me just address that quickly. I'm not 100% convinced that Inside Out 2 beats A Quiet Place Day 1, because they're projecting $40 to $50 million opening for A Quiet Place Day 1, and Inside Out is going into its third weekend.
Unless it pulls 40 million, 45 million.
If it pulls 45 to 50 million, it can do it. Anyway, this is insane. Now, I also want to point out a couple things about this. Starts getting Inside Out 2. We need to start talking about how big can it get. If it's about to cross the $1 billion mark this weekend and it's rolling strong, how big can it get? Because now we got to start looking at what the biggest animated films of all time are. So let's go over and take a look at this. So as of right now, the biggest box office animated films of all time. Number one is the 2019 version of The Lion King. And I again, every time
live action, those were real animals.
But that was live action, wasn't it? No,
it
was not live action. It looked live action. It was a completely animated movie.
No one can convince me those real animals weren't talking.
They trained real lions to have conversations. All right. So Lion King is the number one box office animated film of all time. Frozen 2 at $1.45 billion. Super Mario Brothers at $1.36 billion. Then comes in Frozen, the first one, at $1.28 billion. Think about that. The Frozen films have made $2.7 billion. Think about that. That's a lot of freaking princess.
Thank you.
Carrot Top.
Just so you know, that's money.
Can't remember what their names are, but that's a lot of letting go. The Incredibles in there next at $1.24 billion. Minions at $1.15 billion, and Toy Story 4 at $1.07 billion. All right. So this is the list right now. I think it's safe to say right now that Inside Out 2 easily crosses Toy Story 4 and Minions to get into that sixth spot. I think where it becomes a little bit of a question is if it can climb past Incredibles 2 and crack into the top 5. Now, if it can, getting Frozen won't be too much more, because that's only like $40 million more. I don't know that it gets Super Mario or Frozen 2, but we're talking about Inside Out can become like the 5th biggest animated film ever in history.
I'd have to compare its tracking, like how quickly were they hitting those marks? You know what I mean?
But here's the thing, it's ahead of the pace, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of people at home might be saying, well, John, right now it's outpacing all of those movies. Why don't you think it's going to easily pass them? Here's why. There's a little film called Despicable Me 4 coming. Mm-hmm. That is also targeting the exact same audience. And instead of taking their kids to see Inside Out 2 for the 3rd, 4th, or 5th time, they may plug that tap and say, don't worry, we got Despicable Me coming. So that's the one thing. But listen, I'm telling you, all these movies that are coming out, particularly these animated movies, we could end up with $4 billion films this year.
That's to say they're good. The ones coming out.
And because they've got traction, they got momentum, and I think they're going to be good. Number one, we've got Inside Out 2. That's going to pass $1 billion this weekend. Is there anybody on the planet left who doesn't think Deadpool and Wolverine is going to make $1 billion? Like, is there anybody left who doesn't think this movie's going to make $1 billion? So Deadpool and Wolverine will probably make $1 billion. Despicable Me 4, I think, has a real chance at $1 billion.
And the best part about Despicable Me 4 is that it's only an hour and 34 minutes. That is one short movie.
That gives it a lot of screenings.
Yep.
And then, remember, last year, an 8-year-old movie was the #1 streaming movie in the world. Moana.
Mm-hmm.
Moana 2 comes out at the end of this year.
Don't sleep on that.
You don't think that's got a chance to be? We could be. And listen, then there's an outlier like Joker. But it's so weird when you look at how bad the first half of 2024 was. And we said this all the way back in 2023. We were saying, guys, the strikes, everything's going to be a mess. First half of 2024, it's going to be really, really tough. We got to wait to see what happens when we get to the second half of 2024. And sure enough, the first half of 2024 was rough. But now we had Bad Boys just do really well for itself at the box office. Obviously now Inside Out is destroying all expectations. We literally could end up with $4 billion films. Oh, and by the way, Jenny Miller in the live chat just reminded me, we also got a little movie coming called Wicked.
Yeah.
And you don't think that's going to be big? I'm not saying it's going to be $1 billion film, but you don't think that movie's going to be big? I guarantee you that movie's going to be big. So it could turn out really interesting. And good. Now the question becomes just how big, how high up the chart is Inside Out 2 going to go? It's already done better than anybody thought it would. How high can it go? Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Miracle Made. Did you know that your temperature at night can have one of the greatest impacts on your sleep quality? If you wake up too hot or too cold, I highly recommend you check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. Inspired by NASA, Miracle Made uses silver-infused fabrics and makes temperature-regulating bedding so that you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. When they arrived at our house, my wife Ann loved the feel of them so much, she couldn't even wait for me to get home to put them on our bed. Miracle Made has self-cleaning. These sheets are infused with silver that prevents up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. Miracle Sheets also have incredible comfort and quality. Miracle Sheets are luxuriously comfortable without the high price tag of other luxury brands and feel as nice, if not nicer, than sheets used by some 5-star hotels. So go to TryMiracle, that's TryMiracle.com/Campea to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo code Campea at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you will get a full refund. So upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to TryMiracle.com/Campea and use the code Campea to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's TryMiracle.com/Campea to treat yourself. Question is for you guys. What do you think about this? Inside Out 2 continues to dominate at the box office. It's about to become the first $1 billion film of the year. Fastest animated film ever to get to $1 billion. How high can it go? How many $1 billion films will we have this year? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.